We're 2 weeks away from the Texas High School Football State Championship games at AT&T Stadium, which means it's time for the biggest games yet. These are the picks. Welcome into the Picks, your guide to the Texas High School football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the fourth round of the 2023 Texas High School football playoffs. There are 88 teams left standing across the entire state. Everyone else is done. There's 88 of them. And all of them have eyes set on AT&T Stadium in Arlington, where we will crown 12 UIL Texas High School football state champions in just like 2 weeks. Yeah, and this is the time of year. I have friends who aren't really into high school football, but they tell me, hey, wake me up whenever it gets exciting. Go wake up your casual friends right now. This is the time to lock in, because these next 2 weeks leading up to AT&T Stadium are going to be the most frantic, most exciting, wildest weeks of the year. The biggest games yet this season happening this week in the regional final round of the Texas High School football playoffs. There's massive games everywhere you look. We're going through all 44 of them. We start in Iowa Park. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Hawk Stadium in Iowa Park. It is the Class 2A Division II Region II final between the Albany Lions and the Collinsville Pirates. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, the Logan Jenkins show. Not sure if you guys are familiar with the work of Collinsville quarterback Logan Jenkins, but he's pretty good. The numbers are shocking. He's thrown for more than 4,800 yards this year, 65 touchdowns on 73% passing. He's got a number of weapons on the outside, guys like Rylan Newman and Colin Barnes, but make no mistake, he is at the center of this offense and is their North Star. What he does for this Pirates offense makes him one of the most valuable players in Texas high school football. It's a challenge for this Albany defense, which has been excellent all year long, going back to its state championship win last year in 2022. It's up to this defense, especially with their secondary led by Case and Fairchild, to come up with stops against this high-powered Collinsville attack. So, what is the next act of the Logan Jenkins show? Key number two, Albany's offensive balance. So Albany's going to keep the ball on the ground. Traditionally, that's what Denny Faith likes to do, and Adam Hill is their bell cow back. He's over 2,000 yards on the ground this year. He's scored 35 touchdowns. He has been a warrior for this Lions team. But they have to have balance offensively when they're really hitting on all cylinders, and that's going to be up to their junior quarterback, Chip Chambers, who's been very good for almost the entirety of the season. Last week against Munster, this offense kind of getting into some fits and starts. It's going to be up to this Collinsville defense, led by Garrett Trevino, to make Albany one-dimensional. Take away the run or take away the pass. Make them one-dimensional. So, can Albany's offensive balance flourish, or will Collinsville take away one of the things they do best? And key number three, 363 days. That is how much time will have elapsed between the last time these two teams played in the regional final last year in Mineral Wells, where Albany took home a resounding, thumping 66-34 win over Collinsville. Absolutely dominated the Pirates from stem to stern. It was honestly not that close. It was a complete domination from Albany en route to a state championship. They have had 363 days to think about it on both sides. For Collinsville, they've had 363 days to allow that to fuel them, to get them back to this point, and they have wanted another shot at Albany, an opportunity for revenge. For Albany, they've had 363 days to celebrate a state championship and to work to get back here with a target on their chest, mind you, because they are the defending state champs and a team that's taken everyone's best shot. So, it's been almost an entire year since these two teams have met. What has changed? Who am I picking? I'm going with Albany. The defending state champs get the nod here on the strength of their defense. Jackson Hole has been outstanding, leading this defense, as well as Case and Fairchild in the secondary. They are really sound defensively, and even when their offense has had struggles like they did last week against Munster, they find a way to keep them in it. I think they're going to be able to come up with a couple of stops. Now, for Collinsville, their defense is no joke either. They're giving up just 19 points per game. They've been very good. They have got to find a way to slow down Adam Hill to make sure that he does not run wild in this game. I think this is one of the hardest games to call this week. This is a coin flip, and I've gone back and forth as to who I think is the favorite. But in the end, I have to give the champions the advantage. I think that having that belt around their waist means that they're the team to beat. I think Albany moves on to the state semifinals. Let's go to 6A, 1 o'clock Saturday at Dragon Stadium in Southlake. It is the 6A Division I Region 1 final between the Allen Eagles and the North Crowley Panthers. Allen entered the playoffs at 6-4 and kind of an afterthought, but they have hit the Jets recently thanks in large part to a renewed running game led by Micah Ellis in the backfield. They have been really grinding it out on the ground, and that has been impressive to watch. It's kind of old school Allen offense, quite simply. Now they've got a huge test going up against undefeated and rolling North Crowley. Quarterback Chris Jimerson's been impressive. Running back Ashton Cyril is putting up crazy numbers, and their defense has been spectacular. They held Prosper last week to just 119 total yards. For Allen, they've got to continue to get that running game going, and their defense will need to stand on its head. In the end, I think North Crowley is your favorite. I think the Panthers move on to the state semifinals. Let's go to 5A Division II, 7 o'clock Friday night at Bobcat Stadium in San Marcos. It is the 5A Division II Region 4 final between the San Antonio Piper Warriors and the Liberty Hill Panthers. This is a district rematch from just about a month ago, week 11, the final week of the regular season. These two teams played, and Piper came away with a very impressive 33-23 win over Liberty Hill, which really, I think, served as a coming out party for the Warriors, and since then they have been rolling. Got a huge win last week over previously unbeaten Alamo Heights, and this offense is fun to watch. Quarterback Jake South and wide receivers Jake Strachan and Isaiah Champagne. And they've got a sturdy little running back in John Hamilton who is a bulldog out there. But make no mistake, their offense is fun, but this game comes down to what the game always comes down to against Liberty Hill. How well do you slow down the slot T, which has been absolutely fantastic, led by Ben Carter and Noah Long. They are grinding it out. Once again, came away with a huge win last week over Corpus Christi Flower Bluff. In their first meeting, Piper was able to stymie the Liberty Hill attack and force a number of turnovers. They'll need to do that again if they're going to beat a good team twice. I think this game is closer than it was the first time, but I think the result is the same. I think Piper plays in the state semifinal. To 4A Division I we go, 7 o'clock Friday night at Lobo Stadium in Longview. It is the 4A Division I Region 3 final between the Kilgore Bulldogs and the Tyler Chapel Hill Bulldogs. This is another rematch of another Week 11 matchup in which Kilgore kind of flattened Chapel Hill 39-16 in a big way as the Kilgore Bulldogs won the undisputed outright district championship. Now, Chapel Hill's woken up since then. Quarterback Demetrius Brisbane has gotten back on his game, and running back Ricky Stewart has been very good. Can they find a way through a Kilgore defense that's already stymied them once? That's one thing to keep an eye on. The other key factor in this game is the status of Kilgore quarterback Derek Williams, who left last week's game with an injury. If he doesn't play or he is not 100%, this game gets really interesting, and I think that things get a little bit cattywampus. I do think the Kilgore running game, led by Rayshawn Williams, is good enough to carry the load, though, and I think they're going to be able to come up with a couple of big running plays, and the defense stands firm. I think Kilgore moves on to the state semifinal. To 3A Division I we go, 7 o'clock Friday night at Bastrop Memorial Stadium. It is the 3A Division I Region 4 final between the Edna Cowboys and the Blanco Panthers. Blanco turned a lot of heads last week, including mine, with their 34-0 whomping of Goliad. Awfully impressive. Quarterback Cameron Anderson is a dual threat who leads a run-heavy offense, but he can make you pay in a variety of different ways, and obviously their defense played exceptional last week. They've gotten better as the season has gone on. Meanwhile, they're taking on an Edna team that a couple weeks ago they knocked off Jordanton and, in my mind, took command of Region 4. But then last week against Industrial, they really struggled, had to score late to win it. Quarterback Jaden Clay is their superstar, came up with the play at the big moment, but it was their defense that held them in it while the offense figured things out. As always, for Blanco, whenever you play a team like Edna, it all comes down to how well you match up front. The question is, how well does Blanco match up with the big offensive and defensive lines that Edna is going to throw out there? I think this game is close. It's going to be really hard hitting, but I think that Edna comes away with a win. And we will punch our first 4 tickets to AT&T Stadium this week in the 6-man state semifinals. 5 o'clock Saturday in Weatherford. It is a 1A Division I state semifinal between the Gordon Longhorns and the Jonesboro Eagles. Fascinating matchup in this one. Gordon, for all their weaponry that they have, guys like Stryker Reed kind of leading the way at the spread back position, their defense has been their calling card. They have the best defense in 1A Division I, allowing just 8 points per game. It is serious serious business what they do on the defensive side. On the Jonesboro side, they have a number of weapons, including Jacob Cisneros, who's kind of their do-it-all star. DeMarcus Akoff is a strong runner as well. Can they find a way through this Gordon defense and crack the code on a defense that nobody's been able to get past? The other thing about these semifinals, and we'll talk about this a lot next week whenever we get to this, is it kind of measures the different region strengths, right? Is Region 1 better than Region 2? This is a Region 3 versus Region 4 matchup. I think Region 3 is a little bit stronger than Region 4. I think that gives Gordon the advantage. I think the Longhorns move on to AT&T Stadium. But those are far from the only big games in the regional finals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division 1, remember last year, Spring Westfield gave Duncanville a big scare. I think Duncanville wins it, but it may be just as close. I think Galena Park North Shore wins a rematch over district rival Atascocita. And speaking of rematches, it's the Battle of the Lakes Volume 2. I think Austin Westlake edges out Lake Travis. To 6A Division 2 we go. I like Byron Nelson to beat South Lake Carroll for a second time this season. And speaking of rematches, I like DeSoto over Cedar Hill. Humble Summer Creek keeps rolling with a win over Fort Bend Hightower, and it's Austin versus San Antonio. I like Dripping Springs over Cibolo Steel. To 5A Division 1 we go. Keep an eye on this one. I think Aledo beats Abilene, but I've got this on upset alert. And in Region 2, I like Forney to take down Lancaster. I like Smithson Valley to take down A&M Consolidated, and it's the Coastal Bend versus the Rio Grande Valley. I like Corpus Christi Miller over Brownsville Veterans Memorial. 5A Division 2 we go. I like Frisco Emerson over Colleyville Heritage. Flip a coin in this one, but I'm going with the champs. Give me South Oak Cliff over Lovejoy. And I like Port Neches Groves to roll into the state semifinals with a win over Huntsville. To 4 Division 1 we go. I like Port Lavaca Calhoun over San Antonio Davenport. Hardest game to call this week, plain and simple. I like Anna in a very close one over Stephenville, and give me Decatur to take down Brownwood. 4 Division 2 we go. I'm going with Wimberley over Sinton, and it's a rematch of the 2020 state championship game. I like Carthage over Gilmer. Canyon West Plains Cinderella season continues with a win over Glenrose, and I think Belleville takes down Jasper. To 3 Division 1 we go. I think Brock takes down district rival Paradise for the second time this season. I think Franklin avenges their earlier loss to Lorena to move on to the state semifinal, and give me Malakoff to beat Winsboro. 3 Division 2 we go. Canadian continues their domination of Region 1 with a win over Wall, and Gunner continues their domination of Region 2 with a win over Jacksboro. It's a high-flying Region 3 title game. I like Newton over Dangerfield, and in Region 4 I'm going with Tidehaven over Poth. To 2A Division 1 we go. I'm going with Toller to keep running with a win over Marlin, and give me Hawley over Stratford. A couple of rematches on the right side of the bracket. I like Timpson to take down Garrison for a second time this season. And same goes with Refugio. I think they beat Ganado again. To 2A Division 2 we go. I like Sunray over Clarendon. Chilton takes down Falls City, and Mart wins Region 3 again with a win over Lovelady. And who will punch their ticket to AT&T Stadium this week in the 6-man state semifinals? In 1A Division 2, I'm going with Benjamin over Klondike and Richland Springs over Oglesby. And in 1A Division 1, I like Westbrook over Happy. And those are the picks. I picked all 44 UIL Texas High School football games this weekend, so now you can let me know what am I wrong about. Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2023 Texas High School Football Playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the regional finals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. We'll see you.